Good evening. Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, looking live at the White House there on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Quite the day in news. A lot going on. Of course, the big story of the day, Kash Patel, the FBI director. It's official, so that's great news. Of course, CPAC, day one, awesome as well, as they're wrapping up in National Harbor, Maryland, just outside of Washington, D.C. Also, Elon Musk just getting off of the stage there, Steve Bannon, and then prior to that, Nigel Farage was speaking as well. So quite the amount of coverage for Right Side Broadcasting Network, as we have had now just one day here of a lot of news. But you know what? It's been like that for the past 30 straight days, as today is the 1 month anniversary of President Trump in office for the second time around. And more done in this administration in these 30 days than done easily over the past 4 years of whatever that was in the rearview mirror. So we're continuing on the right side of history, making that right turn on November 5th. And we are now at February 20th, Thursday, 6:32 Eastern. We will be going to the event where President Trump will be speaking to the Republican Governor Association here shortly. So that's going to be in about 30 minutes or so as we bring you the latest news of the day, everything we're gathering here, and also any breaking news that may happen from now until then. Also, after tonight, after this speech is over, President Trump will end most likely around 8 o'clock Eastern time. That'll be right about when the puck drops in Boston, Massachusetts. Team USA taking on Team Canada. Quite awesome. Looking forward to it as a hockey fan, but also as a fan of the United States. It would be great to see that game tonight. It's going to be roaring in Boston. And again, what will happen during the national anthem? Will the Boston fans and the people from the region, will they be booing during the Canadian national anthem? How will it be received? We'll see how it all goes. But a great sport and a fun time to be had tonight. Of course, President Trump making a phone call to Team USA earlier today prior to the morning skate to the team, just encouraging the guys there as they play Canada for this championship game. Again, this is simply the NHL, instead of having an all-star game, all-star break, they had the four nations face-off. So it was Sweden, Finland, Canada, and the United States. The two best teams are in the championship tonight. And it's the United States against Canada. So here we go again. This is the rematch from just a couple days ago where Team USA won 3-1. Okay, so you're not here obviously for sports right now. We're here for seeing President Trump, who will be speaking at the Republican Governors Association. This all brought to you by some great sponsors, including the number one group here when it comes to Colonial Metals Group. We're talking about freegoldguide.com. So there's an urgent retirement warning out there as a number of billionaires, dropping out a little bit of Wall Street, dropping and dumping $133 billion in stocks. That's the guy you see on the screen there, Warren Buffett. But outside of that, knowing to have an anchor in a tax-sheltered IRA, a 401k in gold or silver, you can get that through Colonial Metals Group. So when you go to freegoldguide.com/RSBN, you'll be able to find out how to get a free info kit sent right to you. Definitely a good info kit. We've shown you here on the broadcast a few times, and it would definitely get you in the right direction, that hedge against inflation, especially for those of you that have a little bit of a retirement or a savings. Definitely good money to go toward that high value of gold and silver. So Colonial Metals Group, freegoldguide.com. Speaking of gold, we heard from President Trump yesterday on Air Force One saying that they are going to look at Fort Knox and see if the gold's there. Elon Musk getting asked about that today at CPAC, talking about how cool it would be to have like a live camera in there and see what's behind this door or what's behind that door, and checking out the gold bars that are in there. So we'll see. Will there be some coverage of that someday? Hopefully there will be. That'd be kind of cool to see a live picture or maybe a recorded video inside the Fort Knox there in Kentucky. All right, so it's 5:35 Central, 6:35 on the East Coast. As soon as we get a live feed from the Republican Governors Association, we will go there live to hear from President Donald Trump, the 47th Commander-in-Chief, the one that is just, I was just about to say celebrating 30 days in office, but you might as well celebrate when you have the accomplishments that the president just has had in just 1 month. Usually it's the 100 days that you look at and you kind of judge and see and measure how it went. Well, how about just 1 month, 30 days? We're seeing a lot going on, of course, for our country in a great way. A beautiful, beautiful live shot tonight, guys, of the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Of course, a lot of history there, needless to say, when it comes to all of the presidents of our nation, except for George Washington, did not stay there at the White House. But of course, getting built a little bit after that. But the point is, looking forward to seeing the president once again tonight. Now, this time not at the White House, at an event for the Republican Governor Association. Now, President Trump, we did see him earlier at the East Room of the White House as he was participating in a reception for Black History Month. It was an awesome moment in time there as well. So if you missed any of that coverage, you can check it out maybe after the broadcast or even maybe after the hockey game later to see how that went. It was a really good time there for all of the people in the East Room of the White House. So far, President Trump has signed 73 executive orders. 73 executive orders, all of them stemming from the promises made on the campaign trail. Sticking with that signature that he did the same thing in the first administration, promises made, promises kept. And did you know that the construction of the border wall, getting it to be finished, it has started once again? There's more than 400 miles of border wall. Well, we're hearing that in Texas, and I believe it's California. I'll have to double check my statistics here, my notes. I just want to double check that that's exactly right. That it is, it's California and Texas, where a lot of the walls being built and adding to more there. So we'll be following that story. As you guys have seen a lot of various social media posts or videos here on Right Side of the southern border and of the some 5,000, whether it's National Guard, Army, Marines, even within the state of Texas, their border patrol of the state there, along with Customs and Border Protection and ICE and Department of Homeland Security and everybody really saying, you know what, all right, finally, we have somebody in charge that is going to call the shots in the good way for our country. So the southern border, of course, one of those was declaring the national emergency on the southern border. So therefore now we see that border getting sealed. We've only seen maybe a couple hundred people try and cross the border in a 24-hour time period. That's down from about 11,000 on average a day under Joe Biden. So we could see the night and day shift there in the way of light and good for our country. So a lot of other accomplishments as well. As it's 6:39. Again, you see there coming up, President Trump will deliver remarks at the Republican Governors Association dinner. Looking forward to seeing that. Also looking forward to seeing round two, day two of CPAC coverage with RSBN's Robert McNeely and Christina Loren and Ashley Brassfield live from CPAC in National Harbor, Maryland. They'll be back at it tomorrow, live all day. And then on Saturday, the 22nd, when President Trump will be speaking at CPAC. So it'll be awesome to see that coverage right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. And outside of any of that coverage, we will have any breaking news or any events of the day when it comes to the president's schedule. Like today, there were a number of things that happened, including the East Room participation of the Black History Month. President Trump was a part of that at the East Room. And then other news that happened, of course, that big lead story of the day, Kash Patel becoming the FBI director. Many people on Truth and on X and all across the country are clapping their hands, are smiling, saying, you know what, we have somebody that is based, is someone that is in the Constitution, that's someone that is for truth and common sense, and that is Kash Patel, along with all of the other cabinet members that President Trump has appointed and nominated to be at various positions. 18 of them so far are already in their posts. We're looking at 4 more people to be confirmed in various posts, and I'll go over those once again here as we count down to the days of President Trump's first cabinet meeting, which will be on February 26th on Wednesday. So that, according to the White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt. So the 4 people that we are awaiting to be at their post are U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Elise Stefanik, the Department of Education, so the Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, Lori Chavez DeReamer for the Secretary of Labor, and Jamieson Greer for the U.S. Trade Representative. So once those four are in their posts and confirmed, now we already have Kash at the FBI. That is it for the cabinet. Everything is all systems go when it comes to each of the departments. But even though we're waiting for the other confirmations, it doesn't mean that those departments already aren't taking care of business. We've been seeing that with President Trump. We've been seeing that with the executive branch and all of these cabinet positions already starting to get taken care of business there. Also, when it comes to Elon Musk, of course, with Doge, I mean, we're seeing a lot of great things happen there. Of course, talking about $200 billion just recently found going to all these other programs and other things around the country and around the world, nothing to do with America First at all. So monitoring all of those developments as we speak and as we get more information. So let's also go to RepublicanRed.com, another great sponsor here at the network. So if you go to RepublicanRed.com, you'll see the promo code is RSBN, wine for the right side, wine for the right side. You've got sparkling wine there, a red blend as well, and there are a lot of other wines to choose from that you can go check out on RepublicanRed.com. Use the RSBN promo code. Good stuff right there, wine for the right side, Republican Red Winery. All right, so it's 6:42 Eastern, and you know, let's look at some of the accomplishments over the past 30 days for President Trump. Number one, on the border, declared a national emergency, a national border emergency, allowing DOD to employ National Guard and active duty military to secure the southern border. Currently, there are 5,000 active duty soldiers along the southern border with Mexico. President Trump also ended catch and release, ensuring detained illegal migrants won't be released back into our streets. How about the border wall construction that I referred to just a minute ago has resumed in California and Texas, adding to the more than 400 miles of border wall built during the prior Trump administration. FEMA revitalized FEMA efforts to rebuild areas of western North Carolina that were ravaged by Hurricane Helene. Also, there's a lot more, too, when it comes to the economy, lowering the cost of living, energy, Doge. Let's stop at energy real quick. Declared a national energy emergency on day one, thereby reducing red tape in the energy permitting process. I mean, there are so many things that have been happening just in the past 30 days. I mean, this is just 1 month into the presidency, and looking forward to seeing all of these great executive orders. Again, 73 signed since January 20th. So 73 in 30 days. President Trump and the team are working hard and working for the American people. So that's what we hired them to do, and they're working on it because they stand on the side of common sense and truth, and they stand on the side of all of us. So it's great to see all of this great work happen, and again, wonderful to cover various aspects of it here live at Right Side Broadcasting Network. So again, we're looking for is tonight, the president speaking back to back when it comes to nightly speeches. Last night at that F11 or the F2 or FII conference, the Institute, the Initiative Institute there in Miami, and then tonight in Washington, D.C. to the Republican Governors Association. So looking forward to seeing that from the president in just a bit. Also, keeping our eye on a number of other stories that are happening throughout the Beltway. We do know that Elon Musk, just right outside of the Beltway, was on at the CPAC stage for about 35 minutes, and it was pretty cool. The president of Argentina, Javier Milei, came out there with the chainsaw, and Elon and Javier Milei were just waving the chainsaw around. It was a pretty cool moment, just fun. And hearing from Elon just talking about various things that he's been uncovering with Doge, and also just the basics, the freedom of speech and the freedom of religion, the freedom of all of these things, the press, the First and Second Amendment and on. And it's great to hear that Elon Musk, a genius, right, that is the most wealthy person on earth, is able to talk simply about our First and Second Amendments, and it's great to see that it is based in common sense there. So awesome to see that. Also, if we have any clips, Director, from Elon from earlier, we can go to that, or possibly maybe a Nigel Farage interview that happened with our crew out there at CPAC. I know Nigel Farage was also speaking on the stage at the National Harbor hotels there where CPAC is being held. So we may be able to go to some of that in a bit. All right, let's look at some more news here. It looks like we're seeing here by President Trump earlier today, speaking about Byron Donalds, Congressman Byron Donalds, saying that I'm hearing that the highly respected congressman is considering running for Florida governor, a state that I love and won big in 2016, 2020, and 2024. President Trump, speaking of Byron Donalds, says, I know Byron well, have seen him tested at the highest and most difficult levels, and he is a total winner. Byron has a great wife, Erica, and 3 beautiful sons. They are very proud of him. As governor, Byron would have a big voice and will work closely with me to advance our America First agenda. You can continue to read more if you'd like on President Trump's Truth Social page there. Of course, a complete and total endorsement by President Trump saying, run, Byron, run. So it looks like that may be happening in Florida. And then if you go up to another state, let's go up to Ohio. You think of Vivek Ramaswamy possibly running there for governor. It'd be quite awesome to see Vivek in Ohio, Byron in Florida, and any other states across the union that are America First patriots, the real deal for our country. Not only at the federal government, not only at the state government, but at local and municipal and borough and towns and board meetings, school boards, and just getting, how they infiltrated all of our institutions with their garbage and their BS and their left-wing woke agenda. Well, why can't we do the same for the good of our country, for the common sense of our land, to keep God in our families, in our lives, and in the public marketplace, and to keep the Constitution, the law of the land, and to continue with that. So let's infiltrate in a peaceful and patriotic way. Let's vote. Let's have people run for various offices all across this country, and really from the ground up make this thing happen for our nation, because we're seeing it from the executive branch. Again, 30 days into this thing, and President Trump has had 73 executive orders signed. Yesterday, just on Air Force One, holding a mini press conference there, I believe he signed some EOs there as well. And last time he was in Air Force One signing executive orders, it was from Florida on the way to the Super Bowl in New Orleans, flying right over the Gulf of, then at the time, Mexico, but officially Gulf of America once he was signing that paperwork. Quite awesome to hear from the pilot at that point saying we're flying right over the Gulf of America. It was a really cool moment, and hopefully the AP, the Associated Press, will get on board and understand that it is definitely called the Gulf of America. So no more fake news. Fake news is calling it the Gulf of Mexico. We know it's not that anymore, so the Gulf of America, a great place to visit, of course, too, all along the Gulf, beautiful beaches, all the way through there. So looking forward to that coming up in the spring and the summer. And for those of you that live all across the country, wherever you enjoy, whether it's the mountain scene or whether it's the lakes or some of the rivers or the ocean, we have a beautiful country. We're glad to be here and glad to be free. Holy smokes, aren't we glad to be free? Speaking of that, what I'm hoping to see is a possible interview with Ricardo Martins out of he's from Brazil, and he's really in touch with what's going on in that country, especially with Jair Bolsonaro right now. So let me see if he is here. I think he is at this point. So he'll be joining us live in just a minute. So Director, if we can be ready for Ricardo Martins. Now, I met Ricardo, who is with Team Bolsonaro at CPAC a couple years ago. We know that Eduardo Bolsonaro is at CPAC this time around. And there's this extreme lawfare going on against the former great leader of Brazil. Now, Jair Bolsonaro is the Trump of the tropics, or the Make Brazil Great Again leader. The people of that country love Jair Bolsonaro. So we're going to get a little update here if he's going to be joining us on the line as we get ready to hear from President Trump from the Republican Governors Association. Looking forward to that interview because this is all about dealing with getting rid of the censorship regime that is happening in Brazil and happening in various parts of the world. So to really get a look at what it's like, we're going to hear from Ricardo Martins. This guy is on point. He loves President Trump, loves Jair Bolsonaro, loves the free world, as do I. So I always like having Ricardo and many people on the network here as we continue our live coverage, including, I believe, I don't know if it was Robert McNeely, but one of our hosts interviewed Nigel Farage just today after he was speaking. So looking forward to seeing that interview and maybe posted already on various social platforms, including Rumble and YouTube. So we'll see if that's the case here in a little bit. But in the meantime, it is 6:51 Eastern. We are a little bit away from seeing President Trump here, so we'll be glad to see him at the Republican Governors Association dinner. And I believe his speech will actually be ending right about the face-off time for USA-Canada for that great hockey game in Boston. I know I've talked about that probably 5 or 6 times, but you might say I'm a bit of a fan of the sport, but also I love when it comes to different nations battling it out in a sport. It's kind of fun. And Team USA got that phone call today from President Trump this morning before their morning skate in the locker room, and the Team USA X account actually posted a picture, and you can tell a lot of the guys there had smiles on their faces. It was just a photo while the president was on the speakerphone. They were laughing, or they were just being encouraged by what President Trump was saying. So great to see the smiles of Team USA as they gear up tonight in Boston. All right, so we're getting ready for that live interview with Ricardo Martins once again. I'm told by the producer we're still working on getting that feed up and running as we're looking live there at the White House. Now, a couple things coming up. Let's look at some notable dates in the future for President Trump. On February 26th, the president will hold his first cabinet meeting. Also, in less than 2 weeks, President Trump will address a joint session of Congress. That's on March 4th. So those are two pretty big meetings there. The 26th of February, so next Wednesday, the first cabinet meeting. And then also March 4th, the joint session of Congress. On top of that, of course, a number of foreign leaders over the next few weeks will be stopping there at the White House. It's been pretty much an open door policy. We're seeing a lot of great people arriving there at the White House, and the other day, Elon Musk. Today, there was a number of great patriots in there at the East Room for the Black History Month reception. So just looking forward to seeing more of the same as the president continues onward. You know, I mean, this has been quite the journey that he's been on since 2015. All right, so we're getting a text from Ricardo, so I'll just have to roll with that live on TV to see what the deal is here. He says he is, okay. They're trying, so our crew is trying to get it set up for him, and I'm just letting him know, okay. So just making sure everything is on the up and up, getting everything taken care of there as it's 6:54 Eastern time. Once again, my name is Matthew Alvarez. If you'd like to follow on Truth Social, at Matthew Alvarez, or of course, better yet, following RSBN, at RSBN on Truth Social. On X, it's at RSB Network. A lot of great shout outs from a lot of people over the past half a year. I mean, with the campaign trail and people posting Right Side Broadcasting Network live coverage of the rallies and the campaign trail. And now even as we continue into the first month here, or just on the tail end of the first month, seeing Vice President J.D. Vance post some of our material, most likely his social media team, but also Elon Musk posting various Right Side Broadcasting Network footage. We saw President Trump do the same thing on Truth Social. So as you see the viewers here growing as a network, as we are with you, the viewer, as we are together in this, we the people, seeing great things done in our country. So again, as soon as Ricardo's on the line, you're in for a treat because this guy is based. He knows what's up when it comes to the free world. He again, is in the States, but he's from Brazil, and there's a lot of junk going on right now in the leadership of Brazil against Jair Bolsonaro, against the people of Brazil. The censorship is off the charts right now there. And why would we want to cover something like that here because at the end of the day, we want to keep that true narrative alive. And so we will do that. So let's go to Ricardo Martins right now, live for us. Sir, can you talk to us about your thoughts about what's going on with Brazil right now?
Hey, Matt, glad to be here. All of your audience. It is well known from many sources that USA has been doing something awful around the world, and the deep state is actually true, right? And after that, for those who don't know what's going on, Brazil was used as the biggest laboratory for censorship in the world. It was a test running 24/7 since 2020. Since Biden took office, all the censorship efforts to make Brazil bow to the censorship agenda, now it has been exposed. So after that, they started to use lawfare against Bolsonaro. The same way they try to use against Trump, they use in Bolsonaro, but they were successful. They were unsuccessful over Trump because here in America, we have checks and balances that really work. But in Brazil, unfortunately, we have a packed Supreme Court already. We don't have the balance that we have here in America. And because of that, Bolsonaro was literally taken out. We back in 2022, USA helped the electoral court. In Brazil, we have one Supreme Electoral Court. We have the Supreme Court and the Electoral Court. So the Electoral Court, the judge that was sitting, the chief judge at the time, Alexander de Moraes, he is the one responsible for this huge and immense censorship apparatus that is operating in Brazil. And as the chief judge, he used the entire apparatus to shut down Bolsonaro during 2022 and put Lula da Silva, because he was the one to stop the conservatives from advancing in Brazil. Because the plan was, since 2016 first Trump election, the mission is to stop every conservative movement in the world. And they use USAID and many different countries, but in Brazil specifically, they sponsored many different initiatives, NGOs, the Electoral Court, as I said, and they use all of the finances from American taxpayers to fund a coup d'etat used as its excuse to depose Bolsonaro and place a man that we know his past, which is Lula da Silva, and now they're using the same lawfare to put Bolsonaro in jail with this false narrative of a supposed coup d'etat.
Exactly. So let's start at the beginning right now, though, at the end of the day. So for people that are just streaming in, tuning in right now, they're going to see, of course, the leader of the free world, President Trump, here speaking to the Republican Governors Association in just a bit. Ricardo Martin on the line right now with us. Sir, okay, you're from Brazil. You live in the States. What is the super latest right now with it, though? Because Bolsonaro what is he going to do? Do you have any idea what he's going to do? Of course, he's the leader that the people want in that country, an election that was taken from him. What do people need to know now?
So the strategy is simple, is to place the people on the streets, to call out every Brazilian to go out of the streets to protest against the Supreme Court. Unfortunately, we don't have any legal mechanism to stop this fake court, because he's going to be trialed by the Supreme Court. So there's nowhere to appeal. There's no federal court. There's no local courts. There's nowhere to run. There's only the Supreme Court, which is going to because the prosecutors already offered everything possible to make this false accusation against him, and now he's going to be trialed by the Supreme Court. Because of that, we have no other place to appeal, and the only hope that we have right now, it is this exact moment where Donald Trump's team with Chris Pavlovsky from Rumble to a lawsuit against Alexander de Moraes to stop him from doing everything he's doing in Brazil.
Exactly. So the censorship right now, can Can you help us be in somebody's shoes that are living in Brazil? They love freedom. They love Jair Bolsonaro.
Yes.
They love Make Brazil Great Again. They love MAGA. They love Trump. What is it like to be there? If you have one of these, can you get on X? Can you get on Truth Social? What's the situation?
So, as you know, the censorship apparatus was well established in Brazil, and because of that, many conservative voices, most of the conservative voices had suffered some sort of censorship. Like, for example, my account was shut down on X, and many other journalists like Alan dos Santos. And this is a good point. Because of Alan dos Santos, the journalist, which is the most persecuted journalist in the Western Hemisphere, he's from Brazil. He had to flee Brazil and come to America because he was about to be put in jail because of also false accusations, because he was the greatest conservative voice in the Brazilian journalism. And because of that, he started an account back in the days in Rumble. So, and because Rumble decided to protect freedom of speech, when Alexander de Moraes decided to place a court order to force Rumble to give up all the data on that and shut down Alan dos Santos, and Chris Pavlovsky with Rumble team said, no, we're definitely not going to shut down anyone. We are anti-censorship. And what happened is Chris Pavlovsky decided to remove Rumble from Brazil because of one journalist which is being censored. So because of that, Alexander de Moraes, he went after Meta, which gave all the data they want. Back in the days, Mark Zuckerberg company decided to give everything the Supreme Court wanted it. And X, with Elon Musk's teams, try to fight back, but there's no way to fight back because there was a Starlink involved, and there was millions and millions of dollars involved. And back in the days, Elon Musk couldn't do anything, but he gave up some things in order to have X back in Brazil. But now things are different because of many conservative voices, because of many dissidents coming to America, because of many congresspeople coming from Brazil to denounce on the OEA and also the American Congress, all of the many violations against the First Amendment made by Alexander de Moraes against American companies. Now American companies decided to fight back and file a lawsuit against this Supreme Court judge called Alexander de Moraes. He's just the first one, but as I said, the Supreme Court is already packed in Brazil. There's no recourse, and because of that, we're living in this some sort of a dictatorship, but dictated by the Supreme Court. We have a fake president that is just a man which is completely manipulated by the Supreme Court. But I want to make this statement: the majority of the Brazilian population is conservative. They are conservatives. They are people who fight. They're right wing. They fight against every single evilness and madness that is happening in the world. Brazilians are mostly conservative. But as I said, the voices, the bigger voices, the bigger influences in the conservative spectrum, they were silenced. Many journalists today at Steve Crowder's show, there was another journalist, Paulo Figueiredo, which is a grandson of a former Brazilian president. He was also removed all of his bank accounts, and also he's been blocked, and his passport has been canceled. We have in America right now 4 journalists, Brazilian journalists, that had their passports canceled by the Supreme Court. So we're living in the darkest moments in the Brazilian history in terms of censorship, but Brazilians are standing their ground. They're fighting back. And this new lawsuit, it is a hope for the Brazilian people, because we know that Alexander de Moraes could not stand against Trump's team and the real justice system that is still, thank God, is still working in America.
Exactly. So are you saying that Jair Bolsonaro, the former leader and the rightful president of Brazil, if someone's in Brazil, can he, and he's in Brazil now, but can he post on X at all?
Yeah, because listen, there's this false sense of freedom in Brazil. This is what most Americans need to understand. because the courts are now using this lawfare to stop and block Donald Trump's executive orders, we have to pay a very close attention to this, because the same pattern that is happening here right now, it is the same one that we saw back in 2018, 19, 20, 21, until they removed Bolsonaro from the office. It is to use the judiciary to fight back using lawfare against conservative voices and the president himself. And because of that, Bolsonaro in Brazil now have this false sense of freedom that we can post anything we want, anytime, anywhere. But as soon as this falls into the sight of Alexandre de Moraes, because he's the biggest censor, he's the chief censor in Brazil, and because of that, if someone falls into his sight and he sees that that is a threat, because he's got a whole entire censorship team backing him up and showing him the profiles and the online supporters that should be censored or fined or whatever way they can possibly remove someone online. But in the Bolsonaro himself specifically, he is standing his ground right now. He's fighting really well. And today he gave a very strong speech saying that he doesn't care about whatever they're going to do with him, because he's going to stand his ground, because he's an innocent man. He did nothing wrong. And because they were being advised by the military, if there's any possibility to stop the steal in the Brazilian election back in 2022, they're now putting him on trial to say that he organized a coup d'etat like they try to do in America with Donald Trump after, that devastating Mike Pence event that he decided to confirm the election. So it's the very same pattern that we see.
Yeah, it's the same pattern. It's a bunch of lies, false narratives. Speaking of Jair Bolsonaro, and again, for those of you joining us, of course, we'll be going to President Trump at the Republican Governor Association speech here in just a minute. Ricardo Martin is on the line. I met him at CPAC a couple years ago. Jair Bolsonaro was at CPAC, spoke at CPAC. My wife at the time, she was my girlfriend at the time, met Ricardo as well, and we exchanged numbers, stayed in touch, and he was with the Bolsonaro team. So this is Ricardo Martin's connected with the whole, he's got his finger on the pulse there. So Eduardo Bolsonaro is going to be speaking, I believe, at CPAC maybe tomorrow, or maybe he spoke today. We've been covering
so many today already.
Yes, he spoke today. So we've been covering a lot of stories here. So I want to read a little bit of what Jair Bolsonaro said on Truth Social. First of all, Ricardo, your thoughts that he went over to Truth Social and started to post. It's good, yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so let me read that to you. The world is attentive to what is happening in Brazil. The trick of accusing leaders of the democratic opposition of plotting coups is not something new. Every authoritarian regime in its eagerness for power needs to manufacture internal enemies to justify persecutions, censorship, and arbitrary arrests. I'll skip down to the bottom. You can check it out on Truth. If you need to translate from Portuguese to English, you can do that. It says, the world is attentive, and we will continue to do our part so that everyone knows what is happening today in Brazil. Freedom will triumph once again. What is it like for the people that you talk to in Brazil? And then we'll let you go here, Ricardo. Thank you for your time. But what is it like for the people there right now? Are they... Would it be similar to if Biden or if Harris would have somehow won the election here, and how fearful some people were, and it was just a terrible time? Is that the way people feel there in Brazil now? And are people being jailed for saying they don't like Lula? Like, what's going on there?
So right now, because of Trump, and it is so good to have a leader sitting in the White House, because since Trump took office, some things had changed down in Brazil. And one of the things that we see shifting is more freedom to speak out loud. And some Brazilians now are being empowered again and avoiding fear and understanding that we have to fight back. And because of this exact moment that we're living right now, there's a lot of people speaking out, coming forth, not fearing anything, because yes, in the past there was a huge fear of being imprisoned and censored and having their lives completely taken out, like bank accounts froze and all of different types of censorship possible that it can do to a human being. So, but now Brazilians are fighting back. Bolsonaro are encouraging Brazilians to fight back, to do not stand and to do not bow for the censorship or for the censor or for the lawfare that the Supreme Court are imposing over many millions of Brazilians. And we hope in the near future, because we're gonna have, so keep this in mind, in March 16, we're gonna have a huge parade in Brazil. We're expecting around 12 million people on the streets to call out for Lula da Silva's impeachment and for the Supreme Court to also be impeached as well. So we're organizing this. We hope on March 16, we mark this day as a day where we're going to see things changing in Brazil for sure.
Exactly. And Ricardo, I remember the images just as President Bolsonaro, would anywhere he would go, and everybody, whether it's on the streets or in auditoriums or in arenas or stadiums, they were so supportive of Jair Bolsonaro, again, yes, a good friend of President Trump. And so whenever I see different things like this happening, and since I've got the connection with you, I wanted to keep this story alive and well, knowing that obviously other countries are dealing with the same thing that we were dealing with here in this nation. So Ricardo, we're with you. We're with the Brazilian people, the people that love freedom, that love MAGA, that love Make Brazil Great Again. And please keep me posted on any other developments as we see, hopefully, Bolsonaro set free from all of this leftist stuff, trying to take down someone that is simply a leader that wants the free world to be at a better place. So Ricardo Martins, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm going to be bringing Bolsonaro soon here.
Okay. That sounds great.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. So that Ricardo Martins there saying he'll bring us Bolsonaro, whether it's Eduardo or Jair Bolsonaro. We'd love to have either or both, because again, that freedom aspect of everything. If you remember what Elon Musk was talking about earlier today at CPAC, he was talking some basics. This guy's a genius. He is the richest man on earth, talking about all the Starlink or with X, with Tesla, with SpaceX, all of the various things that he has. He's still talking about simple things like freedom. So let freedom roll, let freedom win, and let freedom ring here in America. 7:13 p.m. Director, if we can get on the program here. Let's go to a commercial. That sounds great. 7:13. I'm Matthew Alvarez. We'll be right back here on Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
Families across the nation have arrived at a heartbreaking crossroad to surrender their beloved animals at alarming rates due to inflation and soaring costs of living.
There are so many overcrowded shelters. So many dogs need a home, but it's all of us working together to solve this crisis.
This fight requires both doers and dollars. Join us at Big Dog Ranch Rescue. Please sign up today.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed, because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interviewed the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Welcome back to RSBN Live. I'm Matthew Alvarez. You're looking at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, White House, of course, on this Thursday, February 20th, getting ready to go to the Republican Governors Association meeting, and President Trump will have remarks there. We'll have that in its entirety coming up in just a minute. Let's go to Tax Network USA. Tax Network USA for more information. All you have to do is call 800-357-1415. tnusa.com/RSBN if you're looking to settle any back taxes. There's a great group right there. Tax Network USA is the place to go. You can protect yourself, of course, from the IRS. Settle your back taxes now. 800-357-1415. All right, so 7:17 p.m. Looking forward to maybe with Doge savings, if we're going to be getting a $5,000 check, we'll see. Also, I'm hearing other people say, let's just abolish the federal tax, income tax. Let's abolish the IRS. I mean, so many different thoughts being thrown around right now. So we'll see what happens. We'll be covering everything right here at Right Side Broadcasting Network as it's 17 after 7, getting ready for the president here. Today, again, marks exactly 1 month in office for President Trump. He signed, again, 73 executive orders in the past 30 days. The other big news of the day, a lot of people talking about Kash Patel becoming the director of the FBI, a great situation there for our country, including increasing our law and order across this land and ridding our departments and institutions of corruption, including all of these expenditures that Doge is finding. So a lot of great things happening. A terrible analogy, but it feels like you're going through the car wash, one of those extreme premium $40 ones. I know it's expensive, but sometimes it's worth it, right? You go through, you feel much better. We need a good cleaning here in this country, whether it's vacuuming all of the carpets inside, making sure the tires are all good, the car looking good. When you pull out there, it's dried, you shine it up, and then it's ready to go. Our car looked really, really bad after the past 4 years. It was about to go off a cliff, but thanks be to God, we made the right turn, and we are going down the path to victory here in this country as Team USA captain himself, President Trump, winning, and all these cabinet picks are winning, which indirectly means we the people are winning because they're working for us, and it's great to see that. Also, speaking of winning, hopefully Team USA, the hockey team, wins tonight against Canada. We'll see what happens after President Trump's speech. The face-off will be about 8 o'clock, 8:15 up in Boston for those of you watching up in the Northeast. Looking forward to that game. And we can look at a few other items coming up. Again, on Wednesday, the 26th of February, President Trump will hold his first cabinet meeting. That per the White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt from earlier today. So that's on Wednesday, the first cabinet meeting for President Trump. And then in less than 2 weeks, March 4th, President Trump will address a joint session of Congress. So looking forward to seeing those two items, February 26th and March 4th. Speaking of the number 4, there are 4 people yet to be confirmed. As soon as they are confirmed in their cabinet posts, that will be all cabinets filled and all President Trump's picks at their posts. Will be great to see that. Of course, those 4 people are Linda McMahon for the Secretary of Education, the U.S. Ambassador designee to the United Nations, Elise Stefanik, and also the Secretary of Labor, Lori Chavez de Reamer, and the U.S. Trade Representative, Jamieson Greer. So once those 4 great people are in their positions, everybody within the cabinet is set. And of course, outside of the cabinet, the FBI director position, filled today. So what else really is there to say other than let's see President Trump here at any minute now, actually scheduled specifically for 7:20. So it is 7:20 on the dot. So we'll see if we'll be getting that live feed, and we'll be going to that as soon as we see it and hear from President Trump. Speaking to a number of Republican governors today for most likely about a 45 minute speech. We'll see. Maybe a little shorter, maybe a bit longer. We'll stay here for it, regardless of the length, because this is a great day, I think, in our history of this country. This is the first month of the presidency for President Trump's second administration, and the amount of accomplishments that we've seen are bar none. We've not seen something like this happen so quickly in any presidency, I don't think ever. So let's look at some of those accomplishments. We were talking about FEMA before, where there was a revitalization process for FEMA, a FEMA effort to rebuild areas in western North Carolina ravaged by Hurricane Helene. We were talking about the economy also, where Robert Simon, the CEO of JSW Steel USA, praised President Trump's steel and aluminum tariffs, celebrating as a project that will flood the U.S. with jobs as trading partners move their industries to U.S. soil to avoid tariffs. If you look at lowering the cost of living, President Trump signed an executive order on day one, ordering the heads of all executive departments and agencies to, quote, deliver emergency price relief to the American people and increase the prosperity of the American worker. These are all things getting rolling and moving and happening here in this country. Energy. President Trump declared a national energy emergency on day one, thereby reducing red tape in the energy permitting process. With DOGE, and we'll go to DOGE in just a second, as we know that there's been a lot being uncovered there. But before we get to that, let's go to one of our sponsors. Grateful for our great sponsors here at the network as they provide all of this live coverage, but also great patriots at Brightcore. So it's mybrightcore.com. If you go to mybrightcore.com/RSBN and you purchase 2 of the Kimchi One products that you see right there on the right side of your screen, you'll get one for free. So Kimchi is a probiotic. It's great for those 3 things you see there: anti-aging properties, immune support, and gut health. Also on its way to helping out to make America healthy again. So wonderful to see that. 7:23 Eastern Time. Kimchi One, the product on the screen, a great sponsor here at Right Side. So as we get back to DOGE, they terminated 89 contracts worth $881 million at the Department of Education, including a $1.5 million contract to observe mailing and clerical operations at a mail center. Canceled 29 DEI contracts at the Department of Education, saving $101 million. And canceled a growing list of other expenditures. I mean, if we can look at 104 DEI-related contracts, saving the government more than $1 billion. If we shift over to the DOJ, creating a weaponization working group to investigate and root out politically motivated lawfare from the Biden administration's Justice Department. Also within the DOJ, ordered DOJ to terminate all remaining Biden-era U.S. attorneys in order to, quote-unquote, clean house and restore confidence. You're looking at the DOT here, too. Secretary Duffy, his very first action at the DOT was to initiate rulemaking that resets the corporate average fuel economy standards that eliminates the electric vehicle mandate. Also, President Trump, of course, meeting with 4 foreign leaders: Israel, Japan, Jordan, and India's the leaders there just in these past 30 days. So it's been quite that historic speed that we're seeing. And I always like to go to DOGE and just check it out, doge.gov. The Department of Government Efficiency says here that schools have spent nearly $200 billion of COVID relief funds with little oversight or impact on students. $393,000 to rent out a Major League Baseball stadium, $86,000 in Caesar Palace hotel rooms, $60,000 in swimming pool passes, and even an ice cream truck. You can check it out, doge.gov. That's where I'm reading it from right here. So if you want to check it out, those are the receipts. It's just wild to see all the transparency at this level here in this country as we continue to cover this great president. We saw, of course, all of his great exploits during the first administration, and we're seeing that same signature of promises made, promises kept to this day. And we will continue to monitor and cover what's going on out there as we also have broken out into breaking news coverage, of course, whether it's inside the Beltway there in D.C. or outside the D.C. Beltway as well. So it's 7:25. Let's go to a commercial break. I'm Matthew Alvarez. We'll be right back.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
Families across the nation have arrived at a heartbreaking crossroad to surrender their beloved animals at alarming rates due to inflation and soaring costs of living.
There are so many overcrowded shelters. So many dogs need a home, but it's all of us working together to solve this crisis.
This fight requires both doers and dollars. Join us at Big Dog Ranch Rescue. Please sign up today.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 6-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
All right, welcome back. Live Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's the bottom of the hour, 7:30, awaiting President Trump over at the Republican Governors Association. We're seeing reports from CBN News that, according to Breaking 911, over the recent few days, 70 Christians have been beheaded by Islamist terrorists at a Protestant church in the Democratic Republic of Congo's North Kivu province. The breaking 911 saying, where is the mainstream media? Well, they're not going to talk about that, but we will, because we know that part of President Trump's agenda is to eradicate Hamas and to eradicate the terrorism of anywhere, right? Anything that's coming against the American people. We've seen those images, terrible images, when it comes to some things going on out there. So, yeah, we know that President Trump doing everything he can, and then also, working in conjunction with the Prime Minister of Israel, looking at various news headlines. Very, very terrible news there. But at the end of the day, we know that truth will prevail, and hopefully things will be eradicated when it comes to Hamas and other groups that are terrorist organizations that aim to take people's lives if they don't believe the same way that they do. So that's just a startling post that I just saw there on X. But back at it here, 7:30 at the bottom of the hour. Again, let's go to CPAC just from earlier today. Robert McNeely actually interviewed the great Nigel Farage of the Reform UK Party. Director, is that ready to go? Okay, they'll be letting me know when that's ready, and we'll go to that interview with Nigel Farage. This guy is all about making Britain great again. Let's roll the interview.
2025, National Harbor, Maryland, with the great Nigel Farage. Sir, how are you enjoying day one of what's been such a great event for not only the conservative movement, the populist movement, but an international movement focused on freedom throughout the Western world?
So I first came here in 2013 to CPAC. 2014, I think, was the first year in this building. So I've been coming for years. I was the first CPAC I came to. I was the first foreign speaker, the only foreign speaker. It was an all-American do, and they must have thought, you know, kind of, what's this limey doing here? Now it's a global brand. And I've been to CPAC Australia, and it's taking place all over the world. So really, really interesting that the, you know, American Conservative Union has started something that is really significant, even way beyond America. This is a wonderful celebration. Today's day one. Trump comes every year because he's connected into the grassroots in the same way that Reagan was, if you go back, you know, 35, 40 years. Everybody else in the middle couldn't care less, frankly. So this is just this is the happiest CPAC I've been to, and you can tell it from the crowd. And I can't even tell you, crossing the Atlantic, the optimism in this country at the moment, it's just off the charts compared to the miseries of our little island at the moment. So yeah, no, really good news all around.
Well, let's talk about those things too, because you talk about this middle, those low propensity voters. How do we get those out for, say, 2026? How do you help people to realize that liberty truly is on the line, that it's not solely a Republican versus Democrat argument, but we the people versus this globalist brand that really has tried to reshape Western civilization?
That's what won you on November the 5th.
Right.
It was getting out those low propensity voters. Look, all 7 swing states went the right way. 2,600 counties went the right way. You know, the majority vote went the right way. I think those arguments about the threat to Western civilization, the threat to an entire way of life, that, I think, and with a strong man leading, oh, and by the way, with a Kennedy, with a great VP pick, you know, with a Musk, I mean, there was a team of people, in a sense, put to the American public. That's what won it for you on November the 5th. It won't win it for you in the midterms. That will not work in the midterms. In the midterm
approach that is exactly what we've all been watching now as his administration keeps up a historic pace of executive orders, events, and accomplishments. But I also believe it's that same mindset that President Trump had in his first administration, working with myself and other governors. He knows, just like we do, that winning is a team sport. And I think I can speak for everyone in this room and millions of Americans across the country tonight in saying that we are excited and thankful to have a new quarterback calling the plays. Over the last 4 years, Republican governors have been the last line of defense against the disastrous 1-2 punch of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. On the southern border, the economy, government bureaucracy, energy production, our military, you name it, the Biden administration did their best to leave it worse than they found it. We'll contrast that with the last few months. We have seen an American comeback that has left the Democrats in disarray, given hope and optimism to the American people, and put our country back on the path to freedom, security, and prosperity for all. Mr. President, Republican governors aren't tired of winning, and we're ready to stand shoulder to shoulder with your administration to ensure that America's best days are ahead. So I hope you all will help give a warm RGA welcome in joining the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and curse you today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
That's such a great song. It's hard to cut it off, isn't it? You know, I want to get you home for the hockey game, I guess, and but we'll get this done real quickly. And I want to thank you all. We have so many great friends here, a lot of great governors, a lot of talent. I'm thrilled to be with the Republican governors, and they have done an amazing job. And I look forward to working with each and every one of you as we complete the mission of saving America. They left us a real mess, didn't they, huh? And making our country great again. We're going to do it. We've made a lot of progress. We're given credit for having the best 4 weeks that anybody's ever had as an opening. So now a few hundred more weeks like this, and we're going to be in great shape. But we've had a lot of fun doing it, too. It's a pleasure to do it. We just rip down whatever they've done. It's almost like I want to just do one executive order. Anything he signed is now terminated. It's easier than, point after point after point. I sign and sign. Just do one. Everything he signed is no good, because that's really what basically it's all about. I especially want to thank the chairman of the Republican Governors Association, Brian Kemp, who was fantastic. He was fantastic. We won Georgia by a lot. Where's Brian? We won Georgia by a lot. Where are you, Brian? There you are. We did a great job together, and I appreciate it. We won't forget it. Thank you, Brian. As well as Vice Chairman Greg Gianforte, a friend of mine who's done a fantastic job as governor, for organizing this beautiful evening. In addition to it, hi, Greg. How you doing? Good? You look good. You look good. In addition to our fantastic governors, we also have Secretaries Doug Burgum and Chris Wright. They're very important. Where are they? Where are they, Doug? You were great on television, Chris. These two guys are going to do it. I tell you, if they get the energy pumping, we'll get that energy price down, and everything's going to follow. Everything's going to follow, and we're going to work very, very hard. Here's a gentleman from Virginia that I recognize that we've become. We almost won that, didn't we, huh? We almost won it. We were just a little bit shy. But I want to thank you. We did a great job together. But another man that's with us is really unbelievable, and you're going to be working with them very closely. RNC Chairman Michael Watley. And Michael worked with Laura, and the team of him and Laura were pretty unbeatable, I would say. She was great and had the victory, and she's solid. There was no nepotism either. Nobody said, oh, gee. They said, how did you get her? And I said to Michael, so who would you like to work with? Well, how about Laura again? But Laura came right after we won. She said, now, Dad, I want to go home to my family. She did a great job, and she just wanted to go back home to the family. But what a team that was. We beat them left and right. They tried to cheat, but they how many lawyers did you have? Like 2,000 lawyers or some crazy number, right? 6,500 lawyers. I would say that's a lot. And the reason I picked him is because with North Carolina in 2020, we did so great in 2020, but the one that just held steady was him with the 601 lawyers at that time. And I remembered that, and I said, that's the guy, because we're going to win, but we have to keep him from being really bad, being naughty. They tried. But, you know, we had an expression, we got to make it too big to rig, and that's what we did, too big to rig. And it was a great night. And, Michael, thank you. Great, just a fantastic job. You'll be working with these just keeping everything, including keeping governor seats, I assume. You're going to work with them in governor seats, too, right? But there's no better man than Michael. Thank you, Michael. Great job. Appreciate it. And we're gathered tonight at a really exciting time. Our nation, I think it's going to be a very exciting time. We have tremendous potential. I have been called by every company. Brian just told me about a big one that's going to be moving in a very big way. But I've been called by so many big companies that they're going to want to beat the tariffs. And there's only one way to beat the tariffs. Tariffs, one of the most beautiful words I've ever heard. In fact, I went around saying it's my favorite word in the dictionary, and I got killed by the fake news media. They said, what about God? What about religion? What about love? I said, all right, I give up. It's my fourth favorite word. So now I say God, religion, love, and then tariffs, number 4. And now I'm okay. I can get away with that. I couldn't get away with one, but it's close. The American people gave Republicans a historic mandate on November 5th. If you remember that, November 5th. What a day that was, huh? No. There was no games. November 5th, 2024 will go down as one of the most important days in the history of our country. I believe that. We won the House, we won the Senate, we won the White House, and in the presidential race, we won all 7 swing states by a lot, and the popular vote by millions and millions of votes for the first time of any Republican in decades. It's hard for us to win the popular vote, but it's not going to be anymore because we're a much different Republican Party right now. We're really nobody can get to this party. It's become a big party, really big and powerful party. We won 85% of all counties in America. Think of that, 85%. Have you seen the map? It's all red. There's a little blue on the outside here, and the outside, the whole thing is like red. They won 525 counties compared to us, 2,600 counties. Think of that. I don't know why we only won by millions of votes. We should have won by a lot more than that. Maybe it's because they cheated. Who knows? And incredibly, all 50 states shifted toward the Republican Party. That's never happened before. It's the first time ever in history that that's happened. All 50 states shifted toward the Republicans, and significantly in many cases. Most importantly, for this room, we're pleased to welcome 8 new Republican governors. Could you stand up, please? Just stand up, these people. Oh, I know them. I know the man. Good. Great. I know every one of them. Mike Braun of Indiana. Mike Keogh of Missouri. Kelly Ayotte of New Hampshire. Larry Roden. That's great. Larry Roden of South Dakota. Kelly Armstrong of North Dakota. Patrick Morrissey of West Virginia. Jennifer Gonzalez Colon of Puerto Rico, Nicola Polo of American Samoa. And I want to congratulate you all. You have great races. You won generally pretty easily. Won a lot of races. You know, in presidential races, they say when you win the presidency, usually the midterms don't go well. I think we're going to do great. I think we're going to really increase our margins by a lot. That's why I went to Michael. I said, you got to stay. You can't go anywhere, Michael. But I can tell you that I did something very different. Our win was so big and so conclusive presidentially, and we had great help from donors. We have a lot of great donors in the room tonight. But this is a nice room, by the way. It's a very nice place. But we did something differently. I said that to my people that do the fundraising, I said, listen, everyone's so happy. Usually you wait 2 or 3 years to go back to the donors. You know, you let it rest. You let their wallets cool off a little bit. But I did it the next morning after we won. I said to Meredith, who may or may not be here, I don't think she is. Maybe she is. She's great. But I said to a whole staff of people, I said, double up. Now, we raised $1.6 billion. They raised $2.7 billion, and they're running short. They can't raise the final 28. You know, when you lose, it's very hard to raise money. But when you win, it's not so hard. I said, see what you can do. Call everybody and say, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Would you like to make a contribution? So this was not a good situation, but they fully understood. They were so happy they didn't care. And, Michael, we raised $608 million in 3 weeks. Can you believe that? So we've got that money, and I got to spend it somewhere. And they tell me I'm not allowed to run. I'm not sure. Is that true? I'm not sure. So if I can't spend it on me, I guess that means I'm going to be spending it on some of my friends, right? A lot of my friends. We're going to be running. But think of that. We raised $608 million. Isn't that great? And I think I'll keep going. I'll just keep bugging them, build it up. But it's going to be great. I think we're going to do fantastically. I think the midterms are going to be a big surprise. And it just seems, I don't know what it is. You go back to the last, I think, 8 elections in a row. The midterms haven't been great for the person that wins the presidency. And I think it's popular. I had an approval rating today of 71 and another one of 69. I have not heard of those numbers before. So it's we're going to fight very hard, because the better I do, the better you do. It makes your races a lot easier if we do well, and we're going to keep doing well. With the help of everyone here tonight, the golden age of America has officially begun, and the golden age of just this whole thing, the red states. It's going to be leading the way to making our country richer and safer and stronger than ever before. The red states are going to do good. And the blue states, I don't know, maybe they'll totally disappear off that map. It's like, you know, they don't learn, because, you know, like men in women's sports, I say we become the party of common sense. Men in women's sports is not a winner for them. But I saw somebody fighting like hell for the fact that a man should partake in women's sports, a Democrat, a radical left lunatic. And they're still going at it, and we shouldn't really fight them too hard until just about a week or two before the election. Just let them go. Don't convince them not to. You know, I'm always saying they haven't learned. I don't want to say that. Don't say that. Let them keep going, and then about a week before the election, just blast the hell out of them. It's like in a race, you know, you hang in there, and then you just go, because there's no way. Open borders with prisoners coming in, jails, some of the worst murderers in the world. We had one guy killed 5 people, separately killed 5 different people. This is not going to be a great person for our country, but we had 11,088 murderers right now. Some of them have been already brought back. And you know, when you think about it, transgender everything, everybody should be transgender. These are not things that play very well. I would say they're 7% issues for them. And they're over 90% for us, but they keep going. So don't tell them they're wrong. Years or 4 years, it's too long. Let them continue to go and say, I think it's a brilliant idea to have open borders, to allow prisons and mental institution people to pour in from all over the world. They came from everywhere. But about a week before that election, go crazy. Just save up your money and explain we can't live like this. And they understand it. Every day of my administration will be fighting to help your state succeed and prosper, and together we're going to bring back the American dream, something nobody talks about anymore. In our last 4 weeks, our new administration has accomplished more than most administrations do in 4 years, and the last administration was a negative. I mean, it was accomplishment I would say negative 50%. There wasn't any accomplishment. There was a de-accomplishment. On day one, I declared a national emergency on our southern border. I sent our military to the border to secure the sovereign territory of the United States of America. We ended catch and release. We began the largest deportation operation in American history, larger even than that of President Dwight D. Eisenhower. You know, he was sort of a moderate guy, but he was very strong on the fact he didn't want people to our country from all over the world. He was very tough. He had the record. We now have the record. It's not a record I'm really proud of. You don't like to do that, but we have no choice. We can't let it. I mean, they let criminals, many, many criminals, hundreds of thousands, probably millions of criminals, 21 million people, I believe, is the number. And of that, millions of people are hard, stone-cold criminals. In the past 4 weeks, illegal border crossings have plummeted by nearly 100%, and the tiny number of illegals that do make it across are being apprehended and sent right back to their home where they belong. All countries are taking the illegal aliens back, every single one, even though they said, and strongly, we're never taking them back, don't even try. They said that during the Biden administration. It didn't work. They're taking them back. They have no choice. They're taking them back. They know we're not playing games. You remember Venezuela? Back, don't even waste your time. They said that to Biden. He said, well, they have us over a barrel. They don't have us over a barrel. How about BRICS? You know, the BRICS states are like 6 of them, and they were trying to destroy our dollar. They were going to say, you know, they wanted to create a new currency. They probably wanted to use the yuan. China, they wanted to use the yuan. And Biden said, well, this is a tough situation. There's not much we can do about that. We can't help that. I said, oh, we can help it. So when I came in, the first thing I said is any BRICS state that even mentions the destruction of the dollar will be charged a 150% tariff. And we don't want your goods. We don't want to partake. And the BRICS states just broke up. I don't know what the hell happened to them. We haven't heard from the BRICS states lately. But he said that wasn't much we could do about it. There was a lot. It took once, literally. They said, sir, what about the BRICS states? They're going to take over the dollar, the sanctity of the dollar. They're going to create a new currency to rule the world. I said, no, they're not. They said, yes, they are. So they said it. I said, no, they're not. Tell them 150% tariff, plus we're not going to do business with them. And that includes China. And all of a sudden, they went to the BRICS states and they said, could I ask you, how do you feel about that? I have no comment on this. I don't know what you're even talking about. It was an amazing turnaround. No, we're not playing games. Just this week, I officially designated the drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, including Nicaragua and MS-13, which gives us great power. And to facilitate the rapid deportation of the worst criminals that we have anywhere in the world, we've also opened the full capacity of the detention facility at Guantanamo Bay. You know, people don't realize that thing was built, you know, we hear about a few prisoners, and they do have maximum security, but it actually was built for thousands and thousands of people, and we're using that prior to bringing back to their country. We use it for the bad ones, the really bad ones, and in some cases, they're so bad we don't want them to go back to the country. We want to watch them because they'll be able, if they do sneak in, we don't want that. We don't want them anywhere near our country. In addition, we're waging war on Joe Biden's inflation disaster, the worst inflation probably in our history. They say 48 years, which isn't bad, but probably in our history. And to bring down the price of energy, I declared a national energy emergency. It's going to be an emergency. And you know what what we say and what Doug is going to do. Doug, you are so important, you and Chris. You know, Chris is known, and I got this from Doug, as the best energy guy in the entire country. And people were shocked that he wanted to do this. He gave up something tremendous. He was the biggest guy. There was nobody bigger, nobody better. And Chris Wright. Is Chris Wright here? Is he here? Where is he? This guy is, and this is from Doug. I said, Doug, I want to make you the energy czar. And he said, sir, there's one man that blows me away. Right, Doug? He said, his name is Chris Wright. He's much better. I said, I want to see this man. And I met him. And I just agreed immediately that he was far superior to Doug. I'm only kidding. So what I did, we have a weird deal. You know, we have the Department of Energy and the Department of the Interior. And Interior has all of the energy. And Doug has none of the energy, but Chris has none of the energy, but he got a hell of a good title. But we want the guy with the energy to be able to drill. So we sort of merged them and their friends and everything else. And they've got a thing going on. I think it's going to set records like nobody. So we have the man that controls the energy. We have the man that drills the energy. And now we put them together. And you're going to see some action. You're going to see something come way down. So thank you. And thank you, Doug. You were really terrific. He was a great governor, by the way. A couple of you may know him slightly. But he was a great governor, did a fantastic job. You know, he made a lot of money in the technology business, sold to Microsoft for a lot of money. I won't tell you how much. I don't want to embarrass him. Some people would say it's a lot. Some people would say it wasn't that much, right? But, you know, when you get close to $1 billion, that's pretty good. And he didn't know much about energy. When he became governor, he became one of the great experts of energy anywhere. We did really an unbelievable job with the state. He did like me. He did well in. He said, let's run for politics. And he did. And they love him in the state. But he was term limited. And I watched him running. He was running against me, but I still liked him. And I said, that guy's real talent. And he was one of the first people I called. So you're doing a great job. And thank you for leading us to Chris. I'll give you a bigger thank you in 2 years if Chris is as good as you say, okay? But I know he's going to be. Thanks a lot, Chris. Good. Go out there. If we can bring energy down, everything's coming down. You know, the eggs are coming down and the bacon's coming down. Everything is coming down, and that's the biggest thing, the energy. So those two guys are very important. To cut through the red tape, I've established a National Energy Dominance Council, chaired by the former colleague and your former colleague, Secretary Burgum. He's going to do a fantastic job. We're putting incredible people on it. I withdrew from the one-sided and very expensive Paris Climate Accord. It's a one-way street. You know, under that accord, we pay $1 trillion. Think of it. We pay $1 trillion. They pay nothing. China doesn't pay anything. India doesn't pay anything. Russia doesn't pay. We just pay everybody. It's like a health organization, and every deal is no good, but we're changing it. We terminated health, you know, on the World Health. We paid $500 million a year, and China paid $39 million a year. I said, that doesn't sound good. They have 1.4 billion people, and we have nobody knows what the hell our number is, because so many people pour into our country. We used to say like 325. I have no idea. We'll figure it out eventually, but let's put it this way. It should be substantially less than 1.4. But let's say we have 325 million. We're paying 500 million. And these aren't, I mean, relative to government, these aren't huge numbers, but this is an example of what happens when you have bad government, when you have incompetent people. So I explained this, and they called me and they said, we'll let you in for the same 39 million. I said, well, we should be much less than 39. We should be, but I didn't even want to do that because I'm not going to talk. I said, I'll think about it. And it was very public. And when Biden came in, he agreed to go back into the World Health for $500 million. He could have gotten, I mean, it's a lot of money. You could have gotten it for 39 million, Joe. That's why you're not president any longer, I guess. He could have had it for 39. They were standing there. It was very public. But he took the 500 million instead because he never laid in bed at night sweating, tossing and turning like half of these governors. Not all of them probably, but half of them. It's sweating. How are we going to do a great job? He never did that. But that's just a case study in, you know, how not to run. Because, you know, if we had people at that level that would have negotiated. I bought a plane. It's really two planes, Air Force One. Now, if Boeing would build the damn thing, it would be nice, too. We don't build like we used to. We don't build too fast. I gave the order out about 6 years ago. They're still waiting. Getting a little tired of it. I gave a fixed price deal. But it was $5.7 billion. I negotiated with Boeing. It took about 2 months, and I got the 5.7 down to $4 billion. Actually, 1 penny less than 4. I said, it has to have a 3 on it. And he said, you want from 5.7 to 3? I said, yeah, 3 on it, meaning it has to start with a 3. And after about 2 months of saying, no, it has to have a 3, he called up, he said, sir, I want, and this is what happened, $3,999,999,999 and 99 cents, 1 penny less. I said, you have a deal. But we saved $1.7 billion just by negotiating. And in all fairness, most of you can do that, and some of you do it. Some of you do, you have surplus states, you have incredible states, and you have to do that because every time somebody sends you a bill, they expect to be negotiated. And in the past administration, and sometimes like in this, it happens because people don't care. Elon talks about caring. Caring is very important, and they have to care. If they care, they say, no, I'll pay you. They'll send you a bill for $10,000, and you say, nope, I'll give you $5,000. And they'll say, no way, no way, no way, and you'll end up paying $6,000 or $7,000 or something. But all you have to do is care a little bit and try and get it down. And literally every contract, I think there's not a contract that's sent in government that I couldn't come, and that many of you couldn't cut, and cut very substantially. And boy, what a difference it would make for the government. I terminated the Green New Scam, one of the great scams in the history of our country. I canceled Joe Biden's insane electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto industry from destruction. That was an easy one. And all of this helps to combat inflation and bring down costs. We're bringing down costs way down. We're going to bring up jobs like you haven't seen because the company's pouring in. We're going to have announcements over the next 3-4 weeks that you're not going to believe from some of the biggest companies in the world, and the numbers are staggering. Hundreds of billions of dollars of investment, hundreds and hundreds, trillions of dollars when you add it up, to slash hundreds of billions of dollars in waste and fraud. We're talking about also an abuse. I've created, as you possibly have read just a little bit, the Department of Government Efficiency. And here are just some of the things that we've paid. And we've stopped, and we've gotten the money back. $520 million for a consultant to do ESG, that's environmental, social, and governance investments in Africa. $525 million. $25 million to promote biodiversity conservation and social responsibility behavior in Colombia. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody even knows what the hell it means. $42 million for social and behavioral change in Uganda. $10 million for Mozambique medical male circumcision. We're doing circumcisions in Mozambique to the tune of approximately $12 million. $14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. $486 million to the Consortium for Elections and Political Process Strengthening, including $22 million for inclusive and participatory political process in Moldova, and $21 million for voter turnout in India. Why are we caring about India turnout? We got enough problems. We want our own turnout, don't we? Can you imagine all India? I wonder what they think when they get it. Now, it's a kickback scheme. It's not like they get it and they spend. They kick it back to the people that send it, I would say, in many cases. Many of these cases, anytime you have no idea what we're talking about, that means there's a kickback, because nobody has any idea what's going on there. $29 million to strengthen the political landscape in Bangladesh. Nobody knows what they mean by political landscape. What does that mean? $20 million for fiscal federalism and $19 million for biodiversity in Nepal. $47 million for improving learning outcomes in Asia. What the hell do I care about? We got a lot. We got enough problems. And all of this is terminated. We terminated this stuff, and we're on the track. By the way, so many others I could read all night long, but so many were so terrible, and some were actually disgusting. And I know you're eating your dinner, so I didn't want to do that. But we're draining the swamp. And one of them was $100 million for condoms for Hamas. You heard about that. 50 and 50. It's 50 million, and then they decided they needed more condoms, so they sent another 50 million. So it's 100 million condoms for Hamas. But now that's the good stuff. Here's even worse. Social Security. As you know, generally speaking, people don't live to be over 100 years old. We all will, I think, 120, 130, hopefully. But, you hate when you get near that number. It's like, let's hope we can live to length like this. But here's what we're finding and what we found. And these were all found by these computer geniuses. I asked Elon, what trait do these have? You know, they started off with 12 guys, and they 57 guys. Now they have over 100 guys, and he attracts very young people with high IQs, you know. Some people attract very beautiful people. I think I like them better, actually. But he attracts young people that are brilliant, and they love the country, too. But I said, what trait do they really have? And the trait that they really have was that they're extraordinary with computers. They can take them. He said they make love to their computer. I said, I don't want to hear about that. Doesn't sound too good. He said they can take apart the most complex computer instruments and literally put them back blindfolded. So when they go into some guy that's ripping off the country by doing some of the things you've just heard or what you're going to hear, they can't be bullshitted. You know, they can't say, oh, gee, there was a mistake. There was a big mistake. And we're finding hundreds of billions of dollars worth of fraud, waste and abuse, but I think fraud be the number one as we see. But listen to this on the program. There are 4.7 million Social Security members who go and live from 100 to 109. Well, I'll tell you, I know some people that are close to 100. I know one or two that got over that mark. But you don't have millions. 3.6 million people from age 110 to age 119. 3.47 million people from age 120 to 129. In other words, 120 to 129 years old. Millions of people, millions. 3.9 million people from age 130 to 139, which is pretty amazing because the longest living person ever on record, and they're not sure it was correct, was a woman from a very faraway place, 27 years old. She was a healthy specimen, but she lived to 127. 3.5 million people from age 140 to 149. So we have 140-year-old people, plus millions of them. 1.3 million people live to over 150 years of age, 150 to 159 to be exact. Over 130,000 people over the age of 160 years old, including 1,039 people between the ages of 220 to 229. And we're going to be investigating this fraud. We had one person who was 361 years old. And what we're doing now is we're finding how many of these people were paid. So we have millions of people, could be well over 100 million people in our Social Security. Them off, whether they were paid or not. It looks like our Social Security could be really solid. It could be a lot better than we thought, if you think about it. And I'm going to do something. I'm actually going on this one. You know, all my life I've heard about Fort Knox. That's where the gold is kept, right? I heard Fort Knox, oh. But, you know, we're getting a little bit shaky. We're getting the yips on this stuff. Like, I want to find out. So we're going to open up the doors. I'm going to see if we have gold there. We want to find out, did anybody steal the gold in Fort Knox? It's a pretty amazing place. But I'm going to actually go. We're going to open the doors. We're going to inspect Fort Knox. We want to make sure that we actually have, 400 tons of gold or whatever the hell it is. It's a lot of gold. I don't want to open it and the cupboards are bare. Could happen. If you look at some of the things, oh, by the way, wait till we go into the education department. We haven't even done that. So we could find as much as $1.5 trillion worth of waste, fraud, and abuse. If we do that, we can balance budgets. We can do a lot of other things, especially when you couple it with the massive amounts of tariffs that are coming in already, just with what we are charging. I won't mention the country anger people that like me, and I like them very much. But we're finding at least $60 billion a year in one country alone, and I haven't even started. It's just a very small portion that I've, attached to them. So I got a call from Congress. They said, a lot of money is coming in from these tariffs. And they're starting to change their whole thing. So if you can add the tariffs, and this is numbers that I don't want to say it because then they'll say he didn't produce, but you could wipe out your income tax. You could maybe not even have an income tax system when this thing works out. Because in the old days, that's what happened. Our country was the richest ever from 1870 to 1913. That's when we were actually the richest, and we were a full tariff country. McKinley, and I just renamed Mount McKinley. I hope you're happy about that. But McKinley was the president. He was a tariff guy, and he believed countries should not be allowed to come in and plunder. He had beautiful language on tariffs: plunder our wealth, plunder our jobs, steal our companies, and take our money without paying a very fair price. And he said, and that price should be more than fair. It should be high, because what they do is they hurt our country. And we became very rich. He was assassinated, and as you know, Roosevelt took over, Teddy, and he spent money on parks and on dams and on everything. I mean, but he really spent a lot of the money. McKinley never got the credit, but he spent a lot of the money that McKinley made. But it was the richest we ever were in the 1800s, early 1900s. And then in 1913, we went to the income tax system. And to be honest, we did fine, but we were never like we were. They formed the Tariff Commission of 1887, and it was a commission of people like you, blue bloods. Are you blue bloods? A couple, and about 3 of them over here. But blue bloods. But it was a commission, and it was set up for the sole purpose of, we have so much money. This is in the United States. We had no debt. We had no nothing. We had massive amounts of money. The commission was set up to determine where we should spend our money. Where do we spend it? We've got so much. Can you imagine? Wouldn't that be nice? Now look at what they're doing, but this is money we have to borrow where they're doing it. But we're going to find out that this money went to people and it got kicked back. You're going to find out a lot of that, but we'll catch it all. We've launched the largest deregulation campaign in our country's history. For every one new regulation, I've directed that 10 old regulations must be eliminated. I will say, in my first term, we did more deregulation than any president in history by far, not even close. With Republicans in Congress, we're also racing to pass the largest tax cuts in American history. We're looking to we brought it down from 41%, much higher if you add the state things, but 41% to 21%, which people said was impossible. And now I'm trying to bring it down to 15%, so it'll go from 21 to 15, but only if you make your product in the United States of America. Otherwise, you pay 21%. That'll be great. To protect American auto workers, who, by the way, they're going to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of what we're doing with tariffs, because they just stopped 2 big auto plants in the middle of construction from being built in Mexico, because they see, when I got elected, they said, oh, this is going to be a problem for us, because we have big tariffs going on, and we have tariffs going on. And they don't have to pay any tariffs. There is no tariff. All you have to do is build your plant in the United States. They were building plants in Mexico right opposite the border. They're making them in Mexico. They're selling them into the United States with virtually no tax. And they're killing Detroit, all these places are being killed. Now it's the exact opposite. And by the way, Canada was a big participant in that too. And I think Canada, they're going to have to pay tariffs on automobiles, lumber, and oil and gas, et cetera, et cetera. And they get 95% of their product from the United States. I think they have to become the 51st state. And you heard the people booing the national anthem, but I think ultimately they'll be praising the national anthem. We'll have to work out some deal with it, because I do like the O Canada, right? It's a beautiful thing. I think we're going to have to keep it for the 51st state. I call him Governor Trudeau. I said, Governor Trudeau's doing a wonderful job. I think it's actually cost him his election, if you want to know the truth. But we're going to see about that. We're looking at Greenland. And we have to take back the Panama Canal, because that wasn't the deal. We gave the Panama Canal to Panama. It was the most expensive thing ever built in our country. It would be the equivalent of $2 trillion today. We spend massive amounts. We lost 38,000 lives from the mosquito and snakes. A lot of bad snake bites, but mostly the mosquitoes, malaria. They killed 38,000 of our people. They paid laborers 5 times what they were getting in the United States to go, knowing that there was a good chance they were going to die. 20% of them died. And Jimmy Carter, may he rest in peace, the late, great Jimmy Carter, gave it away for $1. It's also the most profitable thing ever built. You know, it's what you hear about casinos and you hear about all this stuff. They're peanuts compared to this. It's the most profitable thing ever built. There's never been anything. I mean, you have ships lined up. And by the way, when they gave it away like a bunch of dummies for $1. The day after they took over, they raised the price per ship by 4 times. That wasn't high enough. There was no problem. They raised it again twice. And they're getting almost $1 million a ship. And their product is water. It's Pacific and Atlantic where they meet, and one is about 18 feet higher than the other, which a lot of people don't know. Actually, it's one of the great marvels of the world. Well, we built it, and we're not going to let, because China has essentially taken it over. We're not going to let that happen. China knows it, and so does Panama. To protect American workers and bring billions of dollars into our treasury, we're in the process of imposing reciprocal tariffs on any nation that tries to cheat us or steal our jobs. So India, as an example, has very, very high tariffs. And I was going to impose a flat tariff, but that wouldn't really do the trick because some of the countries have really high tariffs. So it really works out much better. Nobody can even fight it. Whatever they charge us, we charge them. So if they're at 25%, we are at 25. If they're at 75, we're at 7. What just, and it was very interesting, the European Union, you know, we were at 2.5% for cars. European Union was much higher. They just reduced their tariffs on cars to 2.5 to be reciprocal with ours. So that's just an early sign, but I think that's going to happen. And then some will want to fight us a little bit, but it doesn't matter. They're reciprocal. And even the press says, oh, I see. Well, they don't fight us. You know, if I put a flat tariff on like 25, 30%, even if it was lower than we would have gotten, if we put a flat tariff on, the press would have gone crazy. That's terrible. Even if somebody was paying like 5 times more, charging us 5 times more. When you say reciprocal, I said it the other day to the failing New York Times. I said, listen, whatever they charge us, we charge them. They go, well, that sounds fair. It really does, doesn't it? So it's a reciprocal tariff, whatever they charge us. I've ended Joe Biden's weaponization of our government, removed his handpicked radical left Marxist prosecutors from the Department of Justice. We have a great Attorney General, Pam. I immediately halted all government censorship and brought back free speech in America. I signed an executive order to end all of the lawless diversity, equity, and inclusion policies across the entire federal government and private sector. Do you see how much it costs? One company said they're going out of that business and they're going to write off $229 million. How do you spend that much money to convince people that they should have transgender operations and various and sundry other things that we don't like to talk about? It's crazy the amount of money it was almost like just a mind blower what they were doing. It was terrible. And all over, by the way, our military is now free of that. Anybody that even tries it, they're gone. I signed really historic orders to get critical race theory and transgender ideology out of the school, out of our military. It's all going out. It's no longer. And I heard men are still playing in Maine. Is anybody here from Maine? Who is that? Is that the governor? Well, I hate to tell you this, but we're not going to give them any federal money. They are still saying we want men to play in women's sports, and I cannot believe that they're doing that. They are, let's find out who that guy is that raised his hand. Maybe he's just kidding. But, so we're not going to give him any federal funding, none whatsoever, until they clean that up. And the other one, we have a fight with one news organization, AP, a radical left organization, treats us all very badly. And they refuse to acknowledge that the Gulf, former of Mexico, is now called the Gulf of America. So we just hold them. We're holding them out of any news conferences. Now I'm sure they'll get sued, and maybe they'll win. Doesn't matter. It's just something that we feel strongly about. No, and I said we changed Mount McKinley. Nobody's fighting that. You're allowed to do it. Well, we're allowed to do, and most of the shoreline is, 85% of it is on our soil. But I thought it would be appropriate. I never understood quite the Gulf of Mexico when it really covers us far more. And I think Doug is a big believer in what we did, the Gulf of America. So we're having a little dispute, but only one. But Google Maps has already changed. Almost everybody's already changed. It's called the Gulf of America. And earlier this month, I signed an order banning men from women's sports. And that's why when somebody wants to do that, and even the NCAA has already complied, and they have sent us a letter, they have fully complied with that. I also proudly banned the use of puberty blockers, hormone injections, you believe this? And other chemical and surgical mutilations of all minor youth. Do you believe you have to say that? I mean, it's terrible. Who would believe that we're talking about even these things? Men playing in 10 years ago, 15 years ago, can you imagine? People would say, is he crazy talking about this? And they're still fighting us, but let them fight. As I said, we're going to make universal school choice a very big, strong thing, school choice. And we're working very, very hard to send these schools and education back to the states where they can be properly run. In other words, this really affects the people in this room, but you're going to be running your schools, and who can do worse? Look, they rate them in the top 40. So we just came out with one that we were number 40, but we were number 1 in cost per pupil. And I mean, I know a lot of the governors in this room run a great state, and you'll do great with education at a much lower price. We're going to give you whatever you need, but at a much lower price. We have people in Washington, D.C. that, in all fairness, in many cases don't give a damn about your pupils or your students or your states. And they're running everything, and they're running it into the ground. So it came out, we're last in education, but first in cost per pupil. Norway, Denmark, Sweden, I had to tell you, China, and a few others are always in the top 5. And I really believe that 35 or 36 states, and all of you are here, almost all of you are here representing those states, I think you're going to have education that's every bit as good as Norway and Denmark and Sweden and all of them. And then we'll have some laggards, and you know who the laggards will be. You just have to look at everything else. But in everything we do, we're putting America first, because the Republican Party is now known as the party of common sense. It's the party of common sense, very important. I think it's a very important phrase for you to use. It's all about common sense. We're conservative, and, you know, we're a lot of things, but most important thing is we have to use common sense. Thanks in part to the hard work of the people in this room, we're forging a new political majority that is shattering and replacing Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal coalition, which dominated American politics for nearly 100 years. Under our leadership, the Republican Party has become the proud voice of hardworking citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. We are a much bigger, much more powerful party. Now is the time for us all to press forward, think big, be bold, and deliver the once-in-a-lifetime reforms our citizens need and really deserve. They've gone through hell for 4 years. Some of them don't even know it. They've just been led down a path. They don't even know what they've gone through. As one team, we can make our borders stronger, our community for our schools better, our families happier, our citizens wealthier, and our country freer, 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 and more exceptional than ever before. We will work together, and we will absolutely, without question, make America great again. God bless you all, and do a great job, and go home and watch the hockey game. It should be interesting. Thank you all very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Thank you.
What an awesome time there with President Trump speaking there at the Republican Governors Association there, 8:24 Eastern. It was great to see President Trump talking about the NHL game coming up right now, actually. The face-off is happening between Team USA and Team Canada. The anthems were just sung over there. Not too many boos coming from the Boston crowd for the Canadian national anthem, but definitely a lot of patriotism tonight in Boston, as President Trump was talking about. Go watch the game. So that game is starting now. We want to thank a number of sponsors before we end. I do want to tell you tomorrow, though, CPAC coverage, 9 a.m. right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Looking forward to day 2 with RSBN's Robert McNeely, Ashley Brassfield, and Christina Lorenz. So let's first go to Colonial Metals Group. Great group there. You go to freegoldguide.com, freegoldguide.com. Also, we'd like to thank RepublicanRed.com. So the Republican Red Winery, use that promo code RSBN. A couple great bottles right there for you. Quite the website as well. Let's go to Tax Network USA, 800-357-1415. You see the number there on your screen. Also, tnusa.com/RSBN. And also, mybrightcore.com/RSBN. Kimchi One is the product. We want to thank all of these great sponsors here, including mypillow.com/RSBN. So more than 2,000 great products there at MyPillow. If you'd like to donate to Right Side, all you do is text RSBN to 801-801. And we have a newsletter at rsbnetwork.com/newsletter. There's a live look at the White House here on February 20th at the bottom of the hour. Thank you so much for watching all of our coverage today. We'll see you tomorrow. Happy Friday, soon to be. Go Team USA. Have a great night.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
Families across the nation have arrived at a heartbreaking crossroad to surrender their beloved animals at alarming rates due to inflation and soaring costs of living.
There are so many overcrowded shelters. So many dogs need a home, but it's all of us working together to solve this crisis.
This fight requires both doers and dollars. Join us at Big Dog Ranch Rescue. Please sign up today.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 6-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed, because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.